May 20th, 2021. Jamie Peters, Max Ward, and Owen Werner from Elk Rapids are on Drummond Island doing what three best friends in 8th grade would seem normal. Building a campfire, taking jabs at each other, and having fun. But they're actually on the island to do a tour of sorts to the kids of Drummond Island and detour schools. They're there to talk to the kids about a stand-up paddleboard adventure most adults would never try.
What's cool is like how many of your friends like watched you guys do that and saw, you know, what you did and are like, that's so cool. You know, they're kind of proud to know you.
I got friends back at home. They're like, I wish I could have done a journey like that. I want to do that.
The three boys and their 8th grade teacher and founder of Stand Up for Great Lakes, KWIN Morris, started one of the craziest paddleboard adventures you'll ever see. They attempted a 50-mile paddle down the St. Mary's River, from Sault Ste. Marie to Drummond Island. All to raise awareness and help battle the amount of plastics that pollute our Great Lakes.
We're trying to raise awareness for plastics in the Great Lakes, you know. Normally when people think of plastic pollution, they might think of the ocean and sea turtles. But I was thinking, well, this has to be a problem in the lakes as well, right? And so I looked into it, and for sure enough, you know, 22 million pounds of plastic get in the lakes every single year. And eventually that plastic gets into our drinking water, our fish, and even back out to the ocean. That's a huge issue.
Which is a big problem. 22 million pounds of plastic each year gets into our lakes. And that's bad because it goes down the food chain, so the fish eat it, and if we eat that fish, then we're consuming the plastic, and it gets in our drinking water because the plastic, it breaks up into what's called a microplastic, and it's really toxic and bad. And plus, it's just gross to look at. You don't want to see that in the lakes.
I've lived around the Great Lakes my whole life, and you know, they mean so much to me, and they mean so much to other people. You know, you got to protect what you love, and that's what we're out here doing.
So the three friends set a goal to raise $3,000 to help get the word out, but a lot of training had to happen.
This is as cold as it's gonna be.
Their teacher, Mr. Morris, knew the battle they were about to go on and agreed to go with them.
Your hand cold?
He's crossed 4 of the 5 Great Lakes and knows what Mother Nature can throw at the boys. So when better to train than in the worst elements?
Remember the training paddle? It was like freezing cold,
yeah,
ice on my boots.
My feet were glued to the stand-up paddle.
Yeah.
KWIN had the boys training in 15-degree weather in January, and he wasn't easy on them at all.
And I told him, I was like, this is gonna be a huge adventure. I was like, you gotta be ready.
And then we had the same paddle, it was warmer, and I pushed you in. Get used to the water. You fell backwards. And dude, I was like crying, laughing.
Even being pushed into the freezing water didn't faze the three. All it did was build anticipation to reach their goal.
I would say the anticipation is like the best part. You know, like all those weeks of us planning and preparing and talking about it, and like anticipation of what's to come. And
when
like
the day finally came.
Yeah.
I was excited for it, but I was also excited as like, man, like, you know, we're gonna get out there, and once we're out there, all the stress and everything leading up to it's gonna go away, and we're just doing the paddle. You know?
Yep, that's what Joe always says. Is like paddle's the best part.
Yeah.
You know,
That's where you
like
show what you got.
Before they knew it, the training and talk was over. It was time to stand up. This wouldn't be a normal stand-up for Great Lakes paddle where they go unassisted by a boat. Safety was key to keep the 8th graders safe through the 50 miles, and Mother Nature was not going to be nice to them. May 1st, 2021, the three boys, KWIN, and another co-founder of Stand Up for Great Lakes, Joe Lorenz, started their journey at Joseph Kemp Marina in the Sioux. Nerves were high for the boys.
I'm shaking right now.
Is it cold?
How you feeling today?
Good.
You are?
Yeah.
Great, amazing.
How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah. Make it warm for a little bit, I guess. It's just our extra paddle. Are you nervous?
A little bit. Excited though. The wind doesn't get too bad.
The 5 had a group from Bird's Eye Outfitters in the Sioux to join them for the first leg of their paddle, and they were the first to give the kids unbelievable support on their adventure. With the safety boat and crew ready,
Let's go to Drummond, eh?
it was time to go.
Here we go. Yeah!
Into the St. Mary's River, one of America's oldest cities and ports. The maritime history and stories that have happened right here go back centuries. And this story would be no different. They started out at a nice
Outside temp, 33 degrees. Water temp, I'm not quite sure. What's the water temp you got, Nick? 36.7. 36.7 degrees. We've got a light south wind, about 3 miles an hour. Everybody looks pretty good.
I had never been, and it was a really cool town. Super old and awesome, and all these amazing freighters rolling right past us. It was really cool.
You know, we first got in the water coming out of the marina, and we're all like, you know, high spirits, like, wow, this is awesome.
Yeah, we were cruising.
I was thinking it's going to be like that for half the day.
Whole time we could do this all
Yeah,
day,
yeah.
no problem.
Sweet.
Got the Sioux Locks behind us.
Yeah.
That was sweet.
And then
Started the
Looking
Sioux
at
Locks.
Canada on the
The
left.
oldest town in Michigan you guys got to start at. That's pretty cool.
We have a glassy river. You know, the sun's coming up. It's beautiful. We're chatting. Spirits are super high. The wind's blocked by the land at that time. It's still really calm. And we come around the corner and then you feel the wind. We were doing pretty good speed at that time. We had some good current.
people started lining the shore cheering the guys on.
Yeah, we came around the corner, the Sugar Island Ferry like waited for us a little bit and then gave us a big honk, and spirits were super high still. We had current and waving to people, waving to family, you know, that are joining us at different parts down the river, and seeing the kids enjoy that piece was cool.
And not only that, but you know, there were large groups of people going down the river along the way, but even in people's houses that they lived on the river, they were just waving to us from their windows, so that was awesome.
Yeah, we were just saying how cool it was that people were supporting what we do. It's kind of, I guess, like motivating a little bit, that people cared about what we were doing and wanted to see it.
Yeah, it was just crazy. There were people lighting off fireworks and cheering us on, like everyone at their house, taking time out of their day and supporting us on the whole thing and cheering us on. It was really cool.
Like I said before, the Great Lakes brings everyone together. So boys are in high spirits. They're ready to go to Drummond Island.
And then, you know, next thing we know, we come around that corner and boom.
The exact weather they didn't want was the exact weather they got. A building south wind, and they were headed right into it.
It was just blowing wind. It was snowing at one point and then it started raining, but most of all was just blowing wind, and it was very choppy.
It just got windier and wavier. It just wasn't helping us out, but we kept pushing through it.
Everybody's doing good back there.
Snow.
We got little light snow flurries in the air. Got a freighter going by.
A little bit lower. Yeah! That was cool.
The further the guys got down the lake, the stronger the wind blew. And remember, the St. Mary's River can be bigger and wider than a lot of inland lakes, and there was nowhere to hide. Well, maybe one spot.
Right behind the boat.
No, it's just nice blocking the wind. It's not as cold. Yeah, on breaks, this is nice. Tucked up behind this boat, no wind. Yeah. I feel like I'm in Florida. Hey, Owen, grab this strap. Don't touch it.
In the whole river, that was literally the only place to hide from the wind.
But there's not a lot of room back there.
It was probably room for two, but all four of us were fighting for the two spots, so.
And here we are, folks, in Talladega.
We were just battling. If you got like 15 feet behind the boat, the wind would just start taking you, and it took me and Morris a couple times. You just keep drafting back, and if you're right behind the boat, like right there on the corners, it just like pulls you in, and it's a big help.
Joe and I were right behind the boat, drafting off in with Morris, Owen, and Max. They're way back there, like 100 yards, 150 yards.
We were doing everything we could to keep up.
Because if you get 15 feet behind that boat,
You're done.
you're just going even further. There's nothing you can do about
Yeah,
it.
you can't keep up.
How was the paddle? Drafty.
And if the wind and the waves weren't hard enough for the 5, KWIN had 140 extra pounds to paddle. Owen has a condition that doesn't allow him to use his arms.
I was born with a disability called arthrogryposis, which is like, it's where your joints and tendons aren't fully developed.
And for me personally, it was very challenging. But it didn't even make me blink an eye for a second to have him included. The whole time we were sitting there talking we're one board, and just having him out there experiencing that with his buddies, that was so worth it.
We are friends, and that's all it really is, but he's just a person just like us, and we have fun with him just like anyone else. I bet no one else in the school would want to do that, and just Owen. He's a tough guy.
Tough describes Owen perfectly.
You were wet constantly because the waves, they would crash up and soak you, and there was hail that was going in your face.
Woo! Hailing, baby! It's raining hail! Hallelujah!
It was crazy. I was soaked, but most of it was from waves. Like when we go up, and then once we hit back down, it'd splash up, and it'd go up on the board.
Uh-oh, that's a big one. Uh-oh. Whoa! Whoa! That was a big one.
I get a lap full of water, and the hail straight in my face.
A couple waves hit you in the face too.
Oh yeah, yeah. You get a whole lap full of water.
Did I hit you in the head with my paddle at all?
Oh yeah. He dinked me in the head with his paddle. If it went perfectly, it wouldn't have been as memorable.
So far, it's been great. These kids are doing a wonderful thing for our Great Lakes. Just making sure we all do our part, reminding us all how important these are. Yep, I was born and raised in this area, and a lot of the community we all enjoy the Great Lakes. So this event is just a big part of that.
It's snowing, Joe! Woo!
The weather was getting worse.
It really hit us with a little bit of everything, from sun to calm to hail, snow, rain, big wind, big waves. I mean, it was over 12, 13 miles per hour winds right at our face.
The guys tried to hug the shore to get out of the wind.
And there was one point where the wind was so bad, in a 2-hour time frame, we only went a half mile, which is not what we needed. We had to get to Drummond.
The safety crew noticed they were barely moving and really struggling.
When we were near the shore, we were trying to get out of the wind. So we were right in the middle of that channel. So we're like, well, let's see if we can get close to shore to get out of the wind a little, and it wasn't any better. And we were sitting there, and you could see things, on the shore really close, like trees we'd mark, and we weren't going past them very fast. We'd see the tree, and a couple minutes later, the tree's right here.
The wind was so bad they started to drop to their knees to try to find any solace from the weather. The safety crew had to make a call and pulled the team.
You're eating a lot of wind. You're getting like 6 miles an hour rammed right down your throat. Yeah. You're not making much progress.
We know. We're gonna take a break, and then we're just gonna stay tucked behind the boat for a little bit.
Wow. We talk about it, and with you being so close to shore, we're not much good as a safety boat.
No, you're right.
And it might be the prudent thing to do.
Yeah.
What's that? What do you think, Quinn, if we try to get you around and get you just by the ferry dock rock cut area.
Yeah.
Because that's still another 2 miles to get to the dock.
Yeah.
That's where we're gonna stop. We can get you guys up and around. The weather's good, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is we got this. This is gonna happen for the next 2 hours.
We're gonna get on the boat, guys, and get around this corner.
You guys around. This wind's gonna be like.
We're only going like a mile an hour right now. Get up into the rock cut. This is pretty gnarly, boys. Pretty gnarly.
I was almost physically exhausted at that point. Like there wasn't much longer that I could do. And then we take this break and we're back to where our previous break was. It wasn't that much further from there. So we get on the boat, and that was the first time we'd ever touched a safety boat on any of our crossings. So it was kind of like a sigh of relief. And you know, everybody's safe, everybody's warm. They just fought like crazy. And we're all proud of them, you know, what they had just done.
But they weren't done paddling. Just a quick break to get to the rock cut.
Getting beat up out there?
A little bit. It's pretty rough right now. So, only going a mile an hour. So, had to take a break. Live another day.
Yeah, that whole paddle going across here was like burning my shoulders. That wave's too strong.
I kept turning. I couldn't go straight.
Coming up the river was the media of sorts.
Alright, well, this is Rocky TAGHON reporting live for iRock TV. I thought I already did this, but I don't know how to work this phone. Anyway, I'm heading up the river. Let me turn this camera around. I'm heading up the river in my boat. I'm going up to meet the paddlers. It's raining. It's hailing. It's a little bit on the choppy side. Not too bad. It's probably 35 degrees. Yeah, it's pretty cold and miserable. But anyway, Rocky TAGHON. Wait a minute. Wait for it. Rocky TAGHON reporting live for iRock TV. Bye-bye. See you in a little while.
So this point right here is about halfway to Drummond. So we made it halfway.
Is this it? This is the rock cut right here?
Yeah, we're gonna you guys maybe like this side of the ferry dock, let you guys go by it since there might be some people and stuff. But we do gotta be kind of on a little bit of a hurry just because it's pretty tight quarters in there.
Okay.
So
Great about Rocky's boys.
Yeah, we can start any time in here. Hey, Rocky! How you doing, guys? Doing good. Hey,
Welcome to the UP, eh?
yeah.
It's cold out here.
Cold and windy.
we're gonna get shifted around here, guys. We'll get moving.
Okay.
The rock cut is an engineering marvel built between 1902 and 1908. Hundreds of laborers deepened the channel due to the ever-growing size of the freighters using the river.
The rock cut was pretty cool, you know. I wish the weather was a little calmer because it would have been cool to just kind of like go straight through it, but we had to stick to one side.
A little bit of chop, Joe?
Huh?
A little bit of chop?
A little bit.
But the rock cut was like a wind tunnel.
Even down the rock cut, the wind just pushes right through the middle, so we had to get like right in that eddy on the side, so it would kind of push us a little bit more.
But as Joe always does, he always finds a way to have fun. And why wouldn't you paddle backwards?
Now I got a tail.
And right when we got to the rock cut, that's when we hit another turn in the river. And then at that point, the waves were even bigger than before, and the winds were stronger.
But again, there was no place to hide. The five going back down to their knees, doing anything they could to get out of the wind. The wind was relentless.
It was just blowing wind. It was snowing at one point, and then it started raining. But most of all, it was just blowing wind, and it was very choppy as well.
It took a lot of effort and self-dedication to get through the cut, but they dug deep and prevailed, only to get a reward at the paddlers' only planned break. And they needed it, because the weather would challenge them more and only get worse from here.
You know, we're gonna finish. All right, boys, away from the bow. I want you guys fighting these waves. You and Jamie.
The break was over, and the waves were still building.
There you go, there's some waves.
There.
Yeah, get in there.
Come dig.
Do a big flip.
Pull hard to that reel. Pull. Yeehaw.
Waves are the best part.
Mr. Morse was like, go out and experience the waves, and we did. And there's a few 3-footers here and there, and that was a blast.
It started to open up and we were hitting these 2-3 foot waves and just powering through it. All the board sinks almost underneath the whole wave.
They got out there and those waves were huge, and they got to experience like the full wind wave action coming across that lake. So it was fun to watch. We were playing, we were laughing, joking around, and I wanted them to feel the weather, the elements.
It's the first time it's hailed while I'm paddling,
Yeah,
so that's neat.
tail. Yeah, little one. Getting pelted. Pelted with hail. God. Weather up here.
They were just about into Muskong Bay.
They lied to me. Wow, that's miserable.
This is by far the first time I've paddled in hail. And, you know, I'm grateful for the new experience. Really.
And speaking of new experiences, our man on the street, Rocky TAGHON, was on the scene covering every detail of the story.
Oh, good gravy, I stopped paddling.
I'm going to tell you right now, this is one of the most enjoyable days I've ever had in my life.
You really couldn't ask for a better trip down the river, I don't think.
You know, when you're stand-up paddleboarding, it's really best if you get a little freezing rain, a little hail, maybe a little 10, 15, 20 mile an hour winds, 2-3 foot waves. I don't know how you can beat it.
It's really what dreams are made of when you're paddleboarding down the St. Mary's River.
I sure am happy I decided I'd come and join you guys. It's just been a trip of a lifetime.
It was awesome to have Rocky there, not only for the support and safety, but just because of that comic relief, just because like that positive, uplifting, you know, personality that when you're fighting and you're battling it out and you have that, like joking around, laughing, making you smile, it makes it better.
All kidding aside, the waves and the wind were starting to get dangerous. Paddling across Muskong Bay would have put the paddlers in jeopardy. The safety crew had to make another hard call and pulled the 5 again.
We had a nice little storm blow through. Had some lightning off there to the south. It was good. Probably 20 mile an hour winds. Blew up some white caps, probably 2 to 3 footers in here. It's been interesting, to say the least.
We'll use that word interesting for what was about to happen on the boat. An aroma, a bouquet of stench was about to be released onto and through the vessel.
What's that smell? Go back up to the front. Oh my God, dude, that reeks.
Well, I was the issue on the boat. I was smelly because that dry suit does not smell good, but there's nothing I could do about it. We just laughing and having fun.
That's bad, buddy.
Oh man, Max was, his dry suit smell was undescribable in a bad way. You know, if you use a fish here and there, and It was bad.
Why do you smell?
Because I got a dry suit on. And I'm sweating and...
Hey, he's not the only one that smells.
Yeah, Jamie smells too.
I smell, but I smell better.
I think we're gonna burn the suit.
Something was going on with his dry suit from day one when he put it on. It had I would say a light odor. But man, him training, and I don't know what he's eating, but by the end of that thing, we couldn't stand within 3 feet of him. It was bad, but that's something they'll remember forever. There's pieces that as they age, they'll remember. They'll remember the wind, the waves, they'll remember the people, they'll remember that smell.
And isn't that part of what all of this is about? Imagine when Jamie, Max, and Owen are in their 40s and they tell people about this adventure.
It wouldn't really be as memorable if it went all perfect. The weather was more humbling, and at the end when it got really nice, it was kind of like, I don't know, like the light at the end of the tunnel, I guess you could say.
The skies opened up and the sun beamed down on the five like a gift from above.
Man, what a day.
It was time to finish their paddle.
Yeah, it was incredible. You know, we started horrible weather conditions, and as we get to Drummond and get ready to paddle again, sun's out, it's warm again, the wind died down. It was just an awesome way to end the day. We went by this freighter that was actually docked, and we got to go up to that and go by the rudder and stuff. That was pretty cool.
He was saying it was, it's worth it, man. It's sunny out now and it's beautiful, and we were passing by this old abandoned freighter, so it was a really cool experience. Well worth it.
From there, we went down shore and we saw some more people from their houses.
That was awesome. Half a freighter or half a house. It was awesome.
They were about a mile or two from Drummond Island and paddling on the detour side of the river, which they had to cross. This section of the river is about a mile wide.
It has finally, after all day long, it has finally calmed down, somewhat reasonably.
Right as we were cutting across, a French freighter came through, and we got to go pretty much right behind it, and that was awesome.
We're on the last stretch of the trip. It has been some of the wildest weather I've ever seen on the river, but by golly, the kids are doing it.
A bit of respect for what Jamie, Max, and Owen were standing up for.
Nice salute from the captain, and there's our guys right there. Doing a great job, boys. Pretty nice end of the trip, actually.
I mean, we weren't really talking, you know, Mr. Morris told us just take in this experience as much as you can, because you're going to come back to this later in your life and you're just going to be like, wow, like, I wish I was back at that exact moment. So we were all kind of quiet and we were just taking it in and enjoying it.
Coming into Drummond Island was epic. The people of the island lined the shores, welcoming them home.
They were holding signs, they were all cheering, and it was incredible, you know, just to see that many people would come out to support the Great Lakes.
When Jamie, Max, and Owen came up with the idea to paddle the St. Mary's River, their goal was to raise $3,000 for awareness on the amount of plastics in our fresh water.
Brothers get a hug.
They ended up raising over $22,000.
They crushed their goal.
And even though they didn't paddle the whole 50 miles, the 28 they did was some of the toughest weather you could go through.
That was the hardest paddle conditions you could ask for.
When they got home to Elk Rapids, They got rock star treatment from their classmates.
They had everybody line the halls and then we walked through. They thought we were like celebrities. It was cool. It was weird to think about.
And then came back up to Drummond Island and detoured to talk to the school kids about their adventure and why they did it. Jamie, Max, and Owen are freshmen in high school now and becoming young men. But if you really think about what they did as 8th graders on May 1st, 2021, paddling through the wind, rain, waves, hail, and then a bit of sun, it should make us all proud they set a goal, focused on it, and did it. Something worth standing up for.
When we started out, I was thinking, yeah, we might make $3,000. That'd be awesome if we did. Here we are at $22,000. It really just makes me happy knowing that there's that many people out there willing to do that for the lakes.
It was just crazy. I'd never done anything like that, and I want to do it again. It's just something that I think will carry on through my lifestyle for the rest of my life.
People, they cared that much about what we did. Just thank you.
Let's hug him. Hug it out. Oh, yeah. Brothers get a hug.